They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear, until it is done.
We have to contain this.
Soviet Union. Hell yeah!
Cannot determine the cause of the demonic invasion until the Rezop satellite is brought back online.
Right, all I did was go into the office of my apartment development, right, and they refused to give me the form. I'll talk about that in a minute. This guy walked into the office when I was there, and now here he is parked out here, right? Stop stalking me, right? Don't ever stalk me again.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
About what?
Don't ever stalk me again.
No weapons, alright, no.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is the same thing.
And get out of the car?
Yes.
No, I'm not getting out of the car.
All
You
right.
can go get your superior.
Well, I am going to tow this car, and you cannot be in the vehicle while I'm towing this vehicle.
Well, if you go get your superior,
That's not
he'll
gonna happen right
clarify that he can be set free because he does not
That's
have
not
to have
going
a
to happen
license.
right now, young lady. So either you're going to come out of the car on your own free will, or I'm going to assist you.
I'm gonna get out of the car and walk down to that house.
No, you are not free to leave right now.
Are you saying you have authority over me?
Yes, I do.
You have proven authority over me.
Yes, I do.
How did you do that?
The County of Imperial through the sheriff.
You do not have authority over a human being,
All right,
over
well,
a free
you know what?
inhabitant.
Do you want to argue the point?
You need to go look up your
I don't
laws.
have to look at anything right now. What I need to do is get you out of the vehicle. If you have identification, please hand the identification over to me.
No.
Identify yourself to me.
And I'm not going to step out of the vehicle.
Cannot be allowed to leave this place. He will ruin everything.
I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
people, what's up? It's your old pal Doomguy again. Sorry for being gone, but as you all know, I've got a busy life. Good thing I don't have a schedule, but yeah, that's besides the point. So we've got actually a very interesting thing to talk about. Now, again, we're not doing something with a video or anything because, well, there wasn't any actual videos on it. Some recordings, obviously, which I will probably pull up, but yeah. So as you all know, there was this whole stupid Nazi bullcrap in Charlottesville, I think is how it's pronounced. I mean, yeah. When you live in hell for so long, you forget how to pronounce simple names of simple cities. And also, if there's a beeping going on, sorry, that's my Discord. So, as you know, that whole thing happened. Some Nazis went on a riot march thing. And then some Antiefa got involved and broke out in violence. Now, I'm not here to say I agree with Nazis. Nazis are freaking evil retards, and I will hate Nazis till the day I die, which is never. So I'm not going to be talking about that specifically. I'm going to be talking more about what this entire situation threatens, which is simply the freedom of speech. First Amendment right. You can think whatever you want. Now, I'm actually not going to be doing the talking today. Your good old pal Doomguy is going to go off doing some other stuff. So instead, I have decided to invite a very well-known sort of Nazi expertise and a very old pal of mine. Known him since 1992. He's got a new game coming out, and his name is BJ Blazkowicz. And as any of you knows, this guy not only knows a shit ton about Nazis, but hates their guts. Hello there. Thank you very much to Doomguy. So, yeah, I'm BJ Blazkowicz, as you all know, and I am going to be talking about this. Yeah. So, as he already mentioned, we're not actually talking about what happened, but more of how this is going to have an effect on First Amendment rights and people's views and whatnot. Now, when the Founding Fathers first wrote the Constitution, there was no such thing as Nazism. There was no such thing as communism. There was barely any of that. At least not very well known. Nazis definitely didn't exist. Okay, the Nazis came around during World War II when Adolf Hitler came into power in the late 1930s. He started Nazi Germany literally using the country's poor economic situation that was caused by World War I basically being blamed on Germany. He promised to bring them out of that. He was a trickster, and that's ended up leading to him coming into power. And the Third Reich soon followed. Nazism is, in that sense, fairly recent. So the Founding Fathers didn't have to worry about it, but that doesn't mean that the Constitution still doesn't apply here. Nazism, just like any other political viewpoint, whether it's conservatism, socialism, communism, anarchy, any of that, is an opinion. A thought. And the First Amendment gives us the right to say our thoughts. The First Amendment right to freedom of speech. We can say what we want, when we want, and how we want, and we shouldn't have to worry about anything. The government does not have the ability to take that right. At least it's not supposed to. And the people don't have the right to silence us because they don't like what we are saying. They have a right to say what they think, and we have a right to say what we want to think. Nazis have that same right. So if a Nazi wants to go out and preach the wonders of Nazism, then you got to let him. Why? Because he has that freedom of speech. And I hate the fact that Nazis are still around. I hate Nazis more than any other human being alive ever will. That said, I also hate anybody who's going to try and take my American freedom. And my American freedom gives me the First Amendment right to speech. Now, you may be wondering why I'm so worried about this. I'm definitely not a Nazi. I'm not being threatened here. But the thing is, I am, in a sense, am. How does this work? Well, it's quite simple. If you... The left is a very sneaky, slippery snake. They oftentimes use one simple incident, one simple viewpoint, and say that all opposing viewpoints to them are exactly the same. This is what they all are. The big thing right now is anybody that does not agree with the left must be a Nazi, and this is not new. This has been their call for a very long time. If you're a conservative, you're a Nazi. If you're a Nazi, you're obviously a Nazi, but I think we can all agree on that. But you get the point. The alt-right is Nazis. Conservatives are Nazis. Anybody that doesn't support the black rights movements, feminist movements, gay rights movements, gun laws, they're all Nazis. But let's dig into that a little deeper. Are they really Nazis? Today we are going to be talking about several different things. Nazis, as in what they actually are. Left's use of Nazis to get their way. And, of course, how all of this is affecting the First Amendment right. Now, we're going to start with what Nazism is. Now, it's pretty obvious that the Nazis wanted world domination. That may sound corny or cheesy, but that is simply what they wanted. And that's what Hitler was aiming for. Okay. The Nazis also believed in a form of perfect man, which basically was racist. Why? Anything that didn't meet that requirement was not a perfect human, and therefore was to be killed. This was the reason, or part of the reason, behind several things such as the Holocaust, concentration camps. Jews, blacks, they were all imperfect. So yes, Nazis are racist. Saying that is accurate. Nazis also want to take freedom. Why? Well, number one, they're taking your freedom to be who you are. That there's a pretty big freedom. But the Nazi government was a dictatorship. For those of you who don't know what a dictatorship is, it's basically the same as a monarchy in a sense, but with less regulations. And that's saying something because a lot of monarchies didn't have any regulations. Adolf Hitler could do whatever the hell he pleased. And we all know it. Everybody back then knew it. It's obvious now. Hitler did whatever he wanted and nobody could stop him because he was in charge. A dictatorship is basically you have one man that enslaves an entire country. There is no freedom. The government tells you what to do, and this one man is the government. So basically you've got one man telling you what to do and there's nothing you can do about it. And that is a big part of Nazism. I don't care what neo-Nazis are going to say. That's what Nazism is. It is literally fascism. Now, before you start going off on how fascism is a right-wing concept only, go to a dictionary from 2005. Fascism, basically, to sum it up easily for you, is any situation where you force your opinions, your views, and your ways on people, and you shut up anybody that goes against that, sometimes with extreme violence. Like, riots, punching people who are marching or whatnot, calling people racists, burning down shops. Sound familiar? It should. That's the left. Also, sorry about the strange noise there. We've got a Discord chat going on, and we've got an air conditioner running. It's really hot. So, anyways, fascism, to sum it up simply for you, is to force your way on others. That's what Nazism is. Now, many people will try to say that fascism is a right-wing concept only. This is farther from the truth than east is from south. Fascism can be on either side. You can have a fascist left-winger and a fascist right-winger. It just so happens that the left wing is the one that likes to use it the most. And before you try to argue saying that the right wing uses it, aka the alt-right isn't exactly that far right. For some reason, Nazis are often considered part of the right. Why is this? Because the left doesn't like the right. We all know Nazis are bad, so you just associate the Nazis with the right. However, the Nazis are as far left as they get. Okay, let's break this down. The Nazis supported perfect people. Anybody who wasn't perfect, they were racist towards. Let's look at the left. If you're not black, you're white. And according to the left, white people are the only people that can be racist. However, not all white people are actually racist. Not all black people are not racist. Now, I'm not saying that all blacks are racist towards whites, and there's no such thing as a white racist. There are still racist white people, and there are not racist black people. There are racist black people, though, and there are racist white people. Your skin color does not determine your viewpoint. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I knew a black guy from one of the places I worked. Like, he was black. It wasn't just brown, he was black. He dislikes other blacks. I'm not joking, this is serious. It's possible for a white person to hate other whites. The left is a great example of that. So, we've got one similarity. Nazis are racist in a very similar way to the left, just about different groups. Let's look at what Nazis and the left do about opposing views. In Nazi Germany, opposing views were basically illegal. If you had an opposing view, if you did something the government didn't like, you were basically on a death sentence. You were on death row. You were going to end up gone if you were caught. The government shut you up. How does the left work into this? Well, the left will shut you up if you don't agree with them. They will call you a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. So, how's that shut people up? It's just a few insults. They also riot and beat people up and light stores on fire and use the government and all sorts of things. They, too, shut up opposing views, like Nazis. Now, Nazi Germany was the peak of government power. The government chose everything. The left wants more government. They believe that there needs to be more government to regulate everything, to keep things in check, to make sure people can't be racist or sexist or any of that. More similarities. And you know, if I seriously wanted, I could get into detail, but I don't feel like doing that right now. We're trying to keep this a little bit shorter and simple. But if you want, you can go digging. You can find similarities. They are out there. So, I've listed about 3 similarities between the two. If I seriously wanted to go digging, I could find more, but we're not going to do that right now. So, this doesn't mean that they're the same, though, does it? Well, not entirely. You have to show the connections. So now I'm going to have to compare the Nazis to the right, which they are for some reason a part of. The right, not the alt-right. The alt-right isn't even actually right. If anything, it's down. Conservatism, the right, stands for freedom of speech. You get to say what you want, whether we agree with it or not. Nazis don't want that. They want that shut down. The right wants equality between different genders and skin colors and sexualities. Basically, we don't care what you are. It shouldn't affect how you get a job. Nazis, they don't stand for that. They have perfect people. If you don't match their definition of a perfect person, life is going to suck for you. Conservatives do not like government. Too much government means that the government can control your life. A government that can shut down a business for being quote-unquote sexist, aka that baker who got his business shut down because he wouldn't serve a gay wedding, is a government strong enough to shut you down for whatever reason they see fit. And they don't need a good reason, they don't need a legitimate reason, they just need a reason. The left will fill in the details. Nazis stand for the exact opposite of conservatism. And again, you can find proof of this. This just isn't a fact video, this is just a simple talking video. So, why are Nazis on the right? Because the left needs to make the right look bad. Like I said, the left is sneaky little devils. They will pull any trick, they will use any people group or anything just to get their way. And right now their way is power. The left wants power. One of the best ways to do that is to get your opposition out of the way. And the best way to do that is to make your opposition look bad. And this is how the alt-right and Nazis became right-wingers. When Nazis are kind of as far left as you can go, and alt-right is something else entirely. I don't know where it will go on the chart, but it's definitely not right. Now, how does this whole event affect our First Amendment right? How does all of this affect our freedom of speech? Well, the left doesn't like people who will speak against what they stand for. There you go. That's literally as simple as it is. I know you're looking for more, but there's not really much more to say. We have freedom of speech. We get to say whatever the hell we want, however the hell we want, whenever the hell we want. The left doesn't like that because that means the opposition gets to talk. They want to make sure only the left can be heard, so they will shut up opposition. However, this also means that the Nazis get to talk. So we have a bit of a predicament here. So, solution, shut up the Nazis. Even though the Nazis are technically the same as them, they're just a little more straightforward about it. Gotta shut them up, which allows violence. Now, one of the big things is that these right-wing Nazis and all were violent. And I'm not denying that. That happened, yes. They were very violent. Antiefa did it first. There was a picture, and I'll see if I can find it for the video. But it was the Antifa's new flag. Yes, let me see if I can find it here. Here we go, this is it. Now, this is obviously a meme, but you can sort of see the point. And there was another one, actually, that was more accurate, but it was even more of a meme, that's why I didn't post it, but it was... This does basically get the point. Antifa is basically the same as Nazis. Their behaviors, their thoughts, they're very similar, and as I said, the Antifa people weren't exactly innocent either. They were the ones who started the violent outbreak, though the Nazis, I don't exactly say were right for joining in. And then, not to mention, there were a couple of innocent reporters who got basically punched. Female reporters who got punched. Why do I emphasize that? Well, because it just so happens the left idolizes females. As in, female oppression must protect. And here we have Antiefa people punching women. Antiefa people, the people who stand for things like feminism, punching women. So they're hypocrites. Something else the Nazis are. Go back to what I said about how Hitler came to power. He promised a great era where people would be prosperous. They just got an even worse hellhole than they were in before. So this does kind of make the point, though. Like I said, this is more of a meme. Well, I guess that pretty much sums it all up here. I said what I wanted to say. So, to sum everything up, Nazis are bad. Leftists are bad. Nobody was right there. Everybody was a jackass. Everybody was wrong, and everybody there stood for taking away your First Amendment rights, your Second Amendment rights, taking away all your rights, and I wouldn't support either of them. But also, Nazis are as far left as you can get, and they are not that far from the left. They stand for almost the same things. They just don't want to admit it. You have the right to say what you want, when you want, how you want. This whole thing about offending people and safe spaces, it's all a joke. It's all made to take away your First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Remember that. Be careful of that, because it's everywhere. Things like work policies. Yes, we all understand the equality thing and don't harass. I'm not saying that's wrong, but at the same time, they take it to the next level. They take it to a leftist agenda level. So it's everywhere, and keep an eye out for it. Charlottesville was just an awakening, you could say, an eye-opener to both sides. But nobody's gonna call it that. The right is the only people who will see it, but they are often drowned out by the left. Why? Because they oftentimes don't speak up enough. They haven't for the longest time. So just remember, you have the right to say what you want. You have the right to say whatever opinions you have. And nobody has the right to take it from you. People have been, but that's because it's been slowly occurring to the point where we're all blind to it. Charlottesville was an awakening to this. Anybody who was smart enough to look and just do a little bit of digging on the surface would realize how similar the two groups were and what was going on there. Well, that's all I have to say. I'm going to hand this off to Doomguy. You all have a very nice evening. And goodbye. See you around, soldier. So there you go. The left is Nazis, the Nazis is left. Nobody wants to hear it. Opposing views. Pretty much it. Now, yeah, we didn't pull out a lot of facts in this video, but that was because this is just more of a rant video. But trust me, you can find the facts, and if you want, I'll even go dig up the facts on this stuff for you. So, yeah. But, yeah, very nice little segment there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'll see y'all next time. Remember, this is your old pal Doomguy, and keep on ripping and tearing.